Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Corner podcast. I'm Dylan, I'm your host, and today, guys, I finally got my new camera set up here. So if you ever watch this on video, um, we just got a new camera, and hopefully you guys like it, right? Um, Next is just a update for me and what's going on in the community, that kind of thing. So here, and this also might be a California thing too, but we have continuing technical education programs that I've talked about here before. And with that, there's been a bunch of apparently grants that have been issued throughout the state that have gone to communities and school districts to help with continuing technical education, right? That might be shop class, STEM fields, things like that, which is super awesome to hear and see and learn about and all those kinds of good things. And with that, that means there's a ton of money floating around for it. And as I was talking to the principal of one of the school districts here this morning to go over it and whatnot, it's not necessarily money that they have maybe a need for. Some of it, they do need new facilities and those kinds of things, right? Places to put students to have these classes that are outfitted with it, especially when we talk about shop class. As we know, shop has been removed from a lot of schools, a lot of curriculum, auto body, that kind of thing. And it's really been one of those deals where more than anything, the school, the district, all that kind of good stuff has removed it from the curriculum, the facility, and those types of things to where they just don't have the resources or anything else like that to basically help the kids, whatnot, right? They don't have the space for it. So there's money that needs to be allocated for space for facilities, and so we're working through that. But the biggest one is not necessarily a money allocation, but a time allocation, right? So the community getting employers, everybody involved and in the community to help basically match again kids with jobs, the employers with kids. And you need people to work for you, kids need a place to learn and gain experience and have a job and all those kinds of good things, right? So the balance here is getting everybody involved, having high communication levels between like school districts and employers, especially like I don't have kids, and especially I don't have kids in high school. So it's understanding like and having that communication between what the school needs, what the school has to offer, what people are hiring in the community. Are there jobs here for people? Do they need to leave the community to get a job? A lot of times the answer is no. They just don't know any better, right? So we have to increase our communication cadence and really just openness in general with folks to say, hey, there are jobs here, there are opportunities here for people, and let's connect everybody and make sure that we can get you jobs and make sure that that jobs are here and available for you. So this is really the crux of kind of today's episode, guys, is like we've got to increase our communication cadence to people, have everybody's understanding of what's going on in the community. And this goes in a lot of different ways, right? For whatever job openings you might have, for whatever positions you might have, to explain your culture, core values, who you are, what you do, why you do it to your people. And it's just reinforcing and hammering this message over and over and over again, right? Of what you do, why you do it, who you're here to help serve. The community needs to hear it. Your people need to hear that. You need to, tell people what projects you're working on, the types of projects you're working on, the things that you're looking to do, how you're here to help, why you're here to help, and just reinforcing and repeating that message over and over and over again. It's going to sound hard on you, probably. You're like, God, I'm tired of hearing this. But a lot of people are hearing it from the first time from you, right? That, hey, we're here to help you guys in connecting employers to students that are looking for a job, right? The first time that you go in and talk to maybe a high school or something like that about a job opportunity, a opportunity to what careers look like, what they entail, is something that they're hearing for the first time. So you've got to be enthusiastic about it. You've got to show that kind of willingness to get in there, right? And show them what day-to-day life is like. One of the examples that the principal gave that I was talking to this morning, I was like, yeah, kid went and, went to the vet, thought, heard a vet talk. I want to be a vet. Great. They went and did a job shadow for a day or two, and they're like, man, this is not at all what I expected. It's sick pets. We got to cut on them. And yeah, that's not what I, signed up for. I thought this was hugging puppies, right? And not at all. So understanding what that is, what that entails, is super eye-opening for a student to be like, well, I am now glad that I did not spend 8 years of my life trying to be a vet when that, a day was all I needed to know that I didn't want to do it. And I'm sure the opposite happens, get into shop class, start working on a car. Man, this is like not at all what I thought it was going to be, but it is like the best thing and perfect for me. And this is what I do want to do for the rest of my life. So we want to make sure that we're matching, people, giving them opportunities to job shadow, see what it's really like. Is that the type of environment you want to be in? Is this the things you want to be doing? Is this the type of people you want to be working with? And, explain that to everybody and let them see what it's all about, And so this has been just super interesting for me to be a part of, to work with everybody on, and show these types of opportunities, right? If you want to be a diesel mechanic, an equipment mechanic, heavy equipment mechanic, in construction, we need those guys too, right? Fixing the excavators, bulldozers, all that types of heavy equipment, and making sure that, hey, this stuff keeps running. But another industry that really needs that is logging, right? But those opportunities are one for, many companies, but a lot of it's mobile, right? You're 2 hours from town in the woods, operate or working on heavy machinery. So you better make sure you've got all your equipment, your tools, fuel, everything that you need to make sure that that piece of equipment's going to run. And everything you need to work on it, right? So it's basically a mobile shop that you're bringing with you on that truck to make sure everything works. So it's kind of neat, right? And making sure that we have those opportunities. But this is where continued communication, showing up. I ended up going to a board meeting for our county chamber of commerce, and from that, guys that I'd met the week before saw me. I'm like, you hadn't responded to my emails, but I didn't bring that up. I just, was there, gave my input on the board meeting, and, again, made sure that I was there. And then, lo and behold, the next day they followed up on the email that I sent, connecting me with the right people. I'm now having these other meetings with other people in the community. They're going to connect me with other people to, again, continue this whole forward momentum that we're having here in the county. And then this will spread to the, entire kind of Sierra region and the Motherlode in California, to hey, let's connect everybody. Let's make sure that we connect, employers with students, people coming up through the high school in the community, to make sure that they get jobs, they get employed, they stay here, they work here, they live here, and everything's going to get much better because of that. So it's these seemingly little things that we are going through, that we're working through with everybody to honestly keep everybody here, right? And understanding that, hey, there is an opportunity for you to work here, to live here, to raise a family here, and it's a pretty good place to live, work, be, all that kind of good stuff, right? But we got to make sure that people know that the opportunities are here for them to stay and work. Or, hey, if you need a 4-year degree for this, go to college, come back, work during the summers, or go and do other internships, and then, come to work for us once you graduate, whatever, right? But that open communication, that continuous communication, and not just forgetting about people or forgetting to show up to meetings or all these other things that I found to be really important, and to kind of push the agenda, right? Speed, time, consistency, and showing up is super important in a lot of these things, to making sure that, hey, we talk to the right people. We continue to have conversations with them. We continue to follow up. We continue to be top of mind to make sure that, these agendas, these pieces that, again, are for the benefit of the community. And in my mind, for the things that I'm looking to do, right, just connect employers and students together, it's more time intensive. There's not a lot of money involved, right? Most of the facilities are there. The rental fees for those facilities we do need to use are pretty small, and we could do this fairly easily for a lot of people. So it's one of those pieces that I think you can pretty much implement this in your community, and then it's just getting involved, right? Showing up to your county chamber of commerce, your local chamber of commerce, your getting in touch with the school, making sure that, or seeing if they have the programs, if there's opportunities for you to speak, talk to the kids about what's going on with them, how you can help. I mean, all these different sorts of things is I've found to be, everybody's pretty open to it, at least here in my community. And from the point that, like, yes, we have positions and we'll hire people, but really it's more so about the greater, construction community, making sure that we've got, electricians, plumbers, pipe fitters, laborers, operators, heavy equipment mechanics, all these different types of positions that we really need to make sure a job goes, project managers, finance guys, IT folks, everybody across the spectrum here to really improve the entirety of the process and getting people into construction. And again, that's my focus, right? Other people are going to come from healthcare, maybe IT, come from finance, some other background, right? We want to make sure that we're getting in touch with the right people, making sure that we're offering jobs and giving them opportunities, right? Just seeing what the opportunities are for people to get involved in construction, to get a job, to, maybe they take that elsewhere, but at least we're giving them the opportunities. They're understanding that they can stay in this community, that they can have a career, a livelihood, make a living wage, as everybody likes to say and talk about. So it's all these pieces, right? And making sure that, hey, let's get together, let's help each other out, let's do the right things by everybody, and we're going to have a better community for it at the end of the day. So this podcast really is about show up. Like, I know it seems simple, but your time, your effort, especially when some of these meetings are quite painful to sit through, to be at, and they feel like a waste of time. But over time, your ability to show up, your ability to be there, your ability to join the board right after coming and going to the meetings and all that kind of good stuff really allows you to have a bigger impact. But you've got to put some time in on the front end to then be a part of it on the back end. So with a lot of these things, make sure that you do show up, you do put in your time. Again, I know how painful some of this stuff can be. I know how time consuming it can be, but we want to make sure that we are we're giving time to causes that we think are good, and knowing that not all of that is going to be 100%, time maximized, but a lot of it's just showing up, doing the right things, having those conversations, and which allows you to move forward to get kind of your agenda, across, right? And that's whether you're doing things politically, whether you're, and I say politics, in the form of construction and like bond measures, or getting things passed, or having favorable working conditions, or zoning requirements, right? Planning commission, all the things that we end up doing from like a political process, if you will, to make sure that we have good outcomes so that we can build things, move projects forward, right? That are hopefully good for the community, all those kinds of things. So we want to make sure that, again, in any of these processes, that we're showing up, making friends, meeting the right people, and doing good in our community so that we can move things forward, right? So planning commission is a big one. And then just through a lot of these and joining the boards and being part of the chamber is you kind of do have to push, and it might seem hard for a lot of folks or out of their norm to kind of have that push, that drive, that like we got to keep things moving, but it's that urgency that's really going to move your projects forward, your kind of, I'm going to say agenda, but the things that are important to you, right? And like not being afraid to say that, like, hey, this is the thing that I'm most passionate about. This is the reason why I'm here. And I do that for all these boards. Like, look, I care about construction. That is my first and foremost thing. like I'm here for. If projects don't go, like I'm not going to get paid as an engineer. And I'm on like the ancillary of this, right? It's not a direct thing, but projects kind of have to go for us to work. And that's just how it goes. So I'm upfront about that. I don't have a direct dog in the fight. I have an indirect dog. And it's just like I live and work here and want things to be good, right? I want students to have opportunities. I want, employers to have staff, right? I want them to be able to hire locally. I want them to be able to do projects here, work here, all that kind of good stuff. So it's, altruistic in some parts, it's selfish in others, but it's just, I'm upfront and honest about that. And I think going in, it served me well, and the position that I have, but to not be afraid of just stating your position. For some of you guys, again, it's going to be pretty clear of what your position is. Like, where do you stand in these things is going to be like, it's not a secret to anybody. So make sure you just state that, up front as you go, because it's going to be one of those deals where people know either way, right? People know you're going to help them or not. People know if you're altruistic or not in, how you approach everything. So with that, guys, like, just be real, and it's going to be super helpful as you move forward. So that's my big message here today is continue to show up, continue to help support your community, continue to get the word out about what you do, why you do it, why it's important, why construction is here, and even just explaining to people like what you go through for entitlements or the planning process or design, due diligence. Like, all this stuff is super important, like the funding mechanisms around how it goes. And I know some of this stuff might be boring, but it's really important to show people like that you care, that you understand, and just what goes into all of this. People truly have no idea. And the more conversations that I have, it's something that construction we deal with all the time. And most normal people don't understand the process, what it takes, how frustrating it can be. And sharing that in a kind of, I would say more in a blunt matter of fact, like, this is, what we go through. This is the challenges that we face. Here's the things that we'd like to have improved in the process, to really make things just better, more efficient. We understand that, like, you got to have review, another set of eyes. This is why, like, buildings just don't burn down in the United States, because we have these things that, safety standards and measures. And I think a lot of us understand that. We think it's good for the most part. I think most everybody can agree on that. Do we want less of it? Sure. But I think, in the whole, it's been a good process for review, making sure that things are done the right way. We get that, so it's not to take away like that review process, because then it's the Wild West and that's not good for anybody. So we do want standards and processes, but again, making sure that we're upfront with it, that we do the right things on those processes, that we have the right review mechanisms for everybody. Things like that are just going to be super important to everybody throughout the entirety of these processes. So again, we'll whittle all that down. We're going to do some more groups here come the fall in our community, an area of like getting industry together to say, hey, what are the big things of concern? Whittle that down to a list of like 2 or 3 big ones, because we can make progress on like 2 or 3 things, right? We can't make progress on 10. That's not going to work or help anybody. So we want to make sure that we have the right items on that list, and then we can bring in stakeholders like, educators, those folks, elected officials, any other people kind of involved with it, that we can have those conversations with them and do it in a constructive manner, right? And such that we have the right people in the room, the right people there to help move things forward after we've whittled it down, right? So we're not going through the whole like creative process or, hey, what's most important to you, with educators and policymakers in the room, because I think that gets a little crowded. But to whittle it down, hey, here's our top 3 things. How can we help? Here's what we'd like from you. Elected officials, educators, principals, superintendents, all that kind of stuff, and then other stakeholders that we have within the community. So all that to say, continue pushing the envelope and getting out there, being active in the community, understand what people want, need, and then you'll start to make actual change, and that's pretty cool. So that's been my experience. Hopefully this helps you guys in some ideas what you can do. A lot of it is just getting out, getting involved, taking some time to do it. To me, it's been really rewarding to see this type of movement, see this enthusiasm, and a lot of this, it really comes down to we want to help the kids, right? We're going to help them get jobs, help employers here in the area, train and recruit people, and at the end of the day, everybody's better off for it. So, guys, that's this episode of the Construction Corner podcast, and until next time.